point of the matter is, you're telling me that those men are more cognizant of the consequences of their action than she is. That's sleeping with 100 guys.
Doesn't make
They're
any
just
sense.
coming in
Exactly.
as a conveyor belt. They're doing their business and
they're
leaving.
one of how many.
No one should fault them if it's like you go in there and you do what you have to do.
But
and
you know
leave.
why? Because men are always targeted as the people that should know better. Women usually get an escape for not knowing better, and she should have been properly, being young and dumb, and should have been guided properly. And
because they would probably rip the men more than they rip her. That's for sure.
They ripped her, like, although she's getting ripped, but she's getting
ripped. Yeah, she's getting ripped in the garden.
And we are back. Last podcast for the year 2024. I feel like so much has happened throughout the whole year. Honestly, it was an amazing year. I thought I did so much, especially just right off the bat. Not saying that 2023 wasn't a good year, but I feel like every year we're just getting bigger and better. 2024 coming in right off the jump, going into Japan, spending a month there. That was a childhood dream of mine. Did that, wrapped it up, seen what I needed to see. Then coming down to May and us doing the Spartan race, that was insane, intense, pushed us to our limits. We had to do different things that we weren't accustomed to doing. We had to show resilience. We had to show grit. We had to show all of our training that we did coming up to that point, and then training for a marathon, running that in October, getting Dr. Umar Johnson. That was another highlight of the year. And then even now doing the closeout, YouTube growing, following growing, subscribers growing. It's been a hell of a year, honestly. Can't even complain. Our athleisure brand's been growing. Man, there's just so many huge feats that happened this year. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're here now. We're almost 2025.
Yep.
It was a great year for me. You know, I had my ups and downs. Obviously, with life, you deal with highs and lows, and I've realized that because sometimes your life's not going where you projected it to be at a certain point, and then sometimes it's going beyond what you've expected. And with our year, I know, you know, with me specifically, I've had that kind of jump with a lot of different things, and that includes work and personal life as well, right? So I had a lot of things that I accomplished. Like you said, the Spartan race, for those that don't know, that's like a big obstacle race where, you know, you're crawling through the mud, you're running up hills, you're doing a lot of different obstacle courses, monkey bars, all this different shit that we never expected to do. Honestly, I never thought I'd do something like that, to be fair. But just pushing ourselves to the limit, always trying new things. That's what Far From Normal is about. That's why we do the podcast. That's why we do what we do in our day-to-day life. Reason why you went to Japan, you know, just chasing after things that you didn't expect to do or people never expected you to do. I think that's very important. And of course, we did the marathon, trained all year for that, accomplished that, which was a crazy feat for us. And then we got Dr. Umar Johnson shortly after. So just everything in total, meeting new people, you know, doing different things. Obviously, we joined up, teamed up with different people, having our guests that we had on the podcast throughout the year. There's many different guests that came. So shout out to those
Clap it up for them.
Yeah, clap it up for them. Everyone that showed love to the podcast, new listeners, old listeners that remain to, you know, that's still here, still listening to the podcast. We appreciate you as well. But yeah, it was a great year. Like I said, I mean, we're almost here in 2025, and big thing for me is trying to, you know, top it. Again, I feel like in our lives, we have to set the pace, and we've set the pace. You know, even 2023 was a great year. 2022 was a great year. 2021 was a great year, full of accomplishments. And I feel that when you set the pace, you look back and you realize what you've done in previous years, and that keeps you going and moving forward and trying to thrive for more. So I think that's where our mindset's at. And I think that's why we'll be successful. I think having that type of attitude is what drives you towards success.
Yeah, that consistency. And it's funny because that brings me on to the question where I'm always so curious to see adults that still have a teenager's mind state where chronologically they're getting older, but mentally they're staying in one place. They're stuck in the same high school, I would say, environment in their head. And I think that usually comes down to the people you hang out with.
Yeah.
And if you had a certain group of friends in high school and, 10, 15, 20 years later, you're still with those same group of friends, same high school friends, I think that level of comfort and that level of reminiscing of the past continues to stop a certain level of growth. Because I think when you're around a certain group of friends for a long period of time and there's no real gaps in between, you don't have enough time to develop into the person that you want to be. Because I feel in any group situation, if you're in a group long enough, you develop the ideology of the group. You become one of the group members where we all share the same
100%.
jokes. We, our girlfriends hang out with one another. We're constantly hanging out with one another. And you have so many things that you can bond off. But I think sometimes you got to leave the nest, as they would say.
Yes.
But in that, referring to your friend group, leaving it, go out there, have an adventure, come back. The tribe will always be there. You know what I mean? I think go out there, see something new,
Yeah.
meet different people, put yourself in the fire, learn something new, and then bring it back to the group and say, "Hey, this is what I learned when I was out and about, seeing the world," and then coming back and then telling them something different. Because again, they will always be there. What's your thoughts on that?
See, I have a few thoughts on this. I think comfortability is one of the reasons why we do these things,
Yeah.
right? Why we hang out with certain people, even throughout the years, even when our lives change. I think that we're comfortable with certain people. Certain people have known us for a long time. And as time goes on, I think, we're never told to cut off friends. Growing up, you're never told to cut off a friend, especially if they're doing something different than you. Reason you were friends is because you've known each other for a while. You've been through trials and tribulations typically throughout the years. You've had a lot of experiences with that person. You're comfortable with them being around you or knowing certain personal things about you without having to explain the whole backdrop of yourself. Because if you notice when you meet new people, do they truly know you? Do they truly understand you? Because you never spend that much time with them. So a lot of the times you have to wear a specific hat. And that hat caters to those type of people. This is when you meet a new group of people. You wear a certain hat that caters towards them. So in your past life, if you have a history past or a storied past, a new group that you're with might not understand that and or even come from that type of environment. So they won't resonate with it. And in those scenarios, you could feel like an outsider explaining certain things. So a lot of the times you stray away from saying certain stories or certain things you've experienced in your past because this new group of people might not understand that. So that's why I think a lot of people still will hang around people that they've known from the past, whether it's from high school or college days or whatever the case may be. I think it's because the comfortability of them understanding that the test of time is there as well, because somebody that has lasted this long with you, you kind of feel like there's loyalty there. You feel like you can assume that this person is not going to betray you anytime soon because of the long-lasting relationship you've had already. Compared to new people you're inviting in your life, they can be here today, gone tomorrow. So a lot of people are, I think, weary of getting with new circles and new groups. They like the comfortability. But like you said, a lot of, grown men or grown women that chill with people that say they knew from in their childhood days tend to revert back to the childhood mentality. So again, reminiscing about things in the past, or reminiscing about how you used to be, or maybe acting how you used to act, or behaving how you used to behave. And I think that's dangerous because I think as time goes on, you want to learn to move on from certain moments. Just like if you were dating, a woman way back when, and trying to rekindle things. It's like you're already done with that scenario. You're on to a new chapter in your life, and I think it's important for you to meet new people so you can expand yourself. I don't think you should stay with the same groups on that consistent basis because I think it will hold you back to a certain degree, especially if they're not doing what you're trying to do. I think in life, you have to leave the nest, and you have to be willing to spend less time with people that you've known for years. I think you have to understand that as life goes on, you meet new people and you develop new relationship. And there's nothing wrong with hanging around with people that you used to know. But I think that you have to walk your own path in this life, and people will come and go. And there are people that you're gonna, be around more than others. But I think you do have to tailor that according to your lifestyle. If you're comfortable with being the same old you and going down memory lane and all that type of stuff, hey, do you. But in my opinion, to really truly develop, you have to expand yourself. And that means by traveling, meeting new people, getting apart with or finding communities that align with your values and align with what you got going on instead of just familiarity. I think that's dangerous, just dealing with people that you're familiar with.
No, you're definitely correct in that sense. I think another thing that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to group situations is the judgment of leaving the group. I think a lot of people don't leave their group because of the judgment, but it's only, as I said before, it's only when you leave the group you can start to discover who you are as a person and what interests you align with, and just developing certain aspects of yourself and developing certain skill sets, because now you don't have so much influence from outsiders or your group that you're typically with. So going down a path that is unconventional is sometimes daunting, and yes, some people do have anxieties of leaving the group and being comfortable in the situation that they've always been accustomed to being in. But at the same time, there's a level of liberation at the same time. And that brings me to the point of a woman named Lily Phillips. And we're going to find out about her. For people that don't know who she is actually a porn star. She is doing porn. I don't know if she's considered as an actual porn star yet, but she does do porn. And when she first got into it, she was talking about how she enjoyed having sex. Before we're gonna show you a video, and this video is about her sleeping with 100 guys in one day. But before, I'm just giving you a backstory of what she was doing prior to getting to 100 guys in one day, because obviously there's always a backstory to what got her to where she is today and what made her so well acclaimed.
Yes.
And, well, look at us. We're talking about it, for crying out loud,
she's
right?
She's been circulating social media.
She's been circulating on social media, and she has a documentary, which I watched. That
has 5 million views and counting, and this just came out 2 weeks ago.
And it just came out, yeah. So definitely it's something that people are interested to know why she's doing what she's doing and how she got into it. But apparently, as in the documentary, she's talking about how she enjoyed sleeping with multiple men. So she would have a lot of gangbangs and stuff of that sort, where sex and being filmed having sex too. But at the time she was doing it, she was just doing it for free. And then eventually her faculty started to kick in and said, why don't I just monetize what I do, what I enjoy doing, and what I have a passion in doing? Why don't I just monetize it? So she either had an epiphany, or somebody just said, you might as well capitalize off your beauty because you're young. And
I picture someone gave her this advice.
Yeah,
and she's seeing what women were making out there, especially with OnlyFans. She's of the Generation Z, obviously. So she's in that social media.
23
trend.
years old,
she's
23.
By the way. Yeah. She's following the trends, and everyone knows. So OnlyFans, if you're a beautiful young woman, is a place to make money, right? And no one's saying that you're going to make the most money, but it definitely is a means to make some capital, especially if, like she said, she's already sleeping with, I think she said, like 23 guys for fun.
Yeah, she was doing a lot of those things.
She was doing things like that were insane to your typical person. But for her, she said she did that without being recorded.
Yeah, so pretty much. And when I look at OnlyFans, I don't know if it actually transitioned into it now, but I feel like that is a porn site in itself, where now that now anybody could kind of get into the game. As a woman, you could build a fan base and literally just have people paying to your paywall to watch you do porn.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, it's a paywall. You can do, adult content, I would say. Any type of adult content, whether that's nude photos, whether that's having sex with someone on camera, whatever the case may be. And then you can interact with them so people feel like they're closer to the actual person, even if someone else is managing the account or whatnot.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of women in this day and age, it's interesting because I wonder what's going to happen moving forward if this is going to be something that's more accepted.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's still prostitution going on, and that's been accepted for hundreds and hundreds of years. This is the oldest profession. I don't know if it's been accepted, but it's been operating, whether underground or whatever the case may be. I know these days it's through online escorts, all type of ways in which people can sell their bodies or sell images of their bodies. But it's getting to extreme where she said she was selling spit to people. Like, there's a lot of extremes. I heard people selling dirty panties. I heard people selling socks, feet photo. Like, I mean, the list goes on what men are willing to pay for when it comes to beautiful looking women.
Bath water, stuff of that
sort. A lot of
Again,
crazy shit.
What men are willing to pay for when it comes to women is quite interesting and
so
very
who's more
strange.
sick, the women or the men?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because the men are paying for the product.
Yeah, they're paying for the product. So, and the women are just basically
abiding to what they want.
It's
supply and demand.
Supply and demand. That's what I was gonna say. Supply and demand. So
who do you blame? The supplier or the person that wants the demand?
No, I mean if somebody's selling drugs and there's a drug addict, who do we blame?
The drug dealer.
Exactly. So again, we gotta put blame on the person that's supplying this sick fantasy, because a sick fantasy can only be it can only actually come to reality is if the supplier gives out that product.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get into that video and then let's discuss what exactly is going on with Lily Phillips.
Lily Phillips, let's get it.
No judgment.
No, we don't judge.
We don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
Exactly. Fair use.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot. It's very crazy how society is, where we're headed with social media and how powerful it is to get your image out there. So you can use it for many ways. I'll say that much. You can use it to your greatest of benefits if you're talking financially, but it can be one of the worst things if you're talking about your image and in the future what this may mean. Because we don't know what all of these platforms and you plastering your face all over these platforms, what that's going to do in the future.
Oh, no, we do know, because Mia Khalifa, who was an adult entertainer, she started at a very young age, and then she left the industry, tried to get married, got divorced, went through a whole shitstorm about like what's going on in terms of like her career.
I understand. I understand her scenario, but even her, she's still young. I mean, what's gonna happen 30, 40 years from now? That's what I mean. Like, what's gonna happen?
Well, when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's get into the video. Let's see what she has to say.
Are you still planning to do what I've called the 1,000 man challenge?
The man challenge. Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah. So my assistant's currently going through the 5,000 applications we have. It will take place in England.
Yeah.
They'll be getting, honestly, as quick as possible in, out. I just want a conveyor belt.
Right.
So as in, like, we're hoping to get it done a lot before the 24 hours. We're maybe thinking most it'll be 17 hours.
So I saw the video of after you did the 100.
Yeah.
And you actually seemed quite distressed.
I was extremely overwhelmed. It was very, very intense. Obviously, just after finishing a 14-hour stunt of just constantly getting at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as soon as we finished that, camera crew came in and started probing me with questions. It was very stressful. It was more just, I mean, it was super overwhelming, a super long, hard, stressful day. And then the camera crew probing me with questions for an hour. You know, that was kind of, if I'm honest, I wish I'd kind of set a boundary, because that was kind of the last thing I wanted, was just someone.
I think So in this video, she's talking about how she already did. So she already did 100 guys. At this point, she already did 100 guys. She was now preparing for 1,000 guys.
So she's adding up.
So she amped it up for sure, right? And I watched the documentary, and she explained with how it went, and each guy had 4 to 5 minutes per session. And then she was talking about how she was even giving them an experience. What's your name? Where are you coming from? So on and so forth. She's making them nice and relaxed when they come in. But I'm pretty sure she did that for the first 10 guys. And then after a while, she just got exhausted.
Yeah, so take off your pants and let's get to
then
it.
Then it was the conveyor belt, respectfully. But yeah, so she did the conveyor belt.
Oh, man.
And honestly, to be fair, I know she's getting a lot of flack for what she's done.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my thoughts on the whole situation is I don't fault her for doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
Not saying that I would want my own daughter doing something of that sort, but again, that is my own belief system. That's my own household. I can only worry about what I got going on in my household and my family and what they're doing. But if a woman like Lily Phillips comes out and she tells you that she always enjoyed sex and now she's getting paid to do something that she loves, and she's willing to do 100 guys and then do a documentary about the 100 guys and then amp it up to 1,000 guys, and her mother's a manager and her father's on board too, who are you to say, and I'm talking about the general public, the commentaries, the people that are spectators and bleacher watchers, who are they to say that she's a demon or it's demonic or satanic, as if their own life doesn't have turbulence?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's interesting because she did say she was doing like pretty much crazy stunts before this had happened. Of course, she never slept with 100 guys.
Yes.
But at this point, she's thinking about capitalizing financially. I think they had to pay a certain amount of money to sleep with her, if I'm not mistaken, from the documentary. So the documentary, basically, they're asking her questions prior to her having this 100-guy march. Basically, they're marching up in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's a
again,
marathon.
there you go. And again, with that being said, she's using this to put on her platform. Again,
Yes.
it's going to be on OnlyFans, and people are going to have to pay a handsome,
to watch.
a handsome payment, you know.
To even watch the content.
Yeah, to watch that content, you're going to have to subscribe. And this is a paywall, so just to see the content, you'd have to be subscribed to her. That might cost you from upwards of, $9.99 to $29.99. I don't know what she charged you, but
And I'm
you
pretty
can do
sure
the
they
math.
have like different packages too. Like, if you want to talk to her for a certain
Yeah,
amount of time.
absolutely. But
she
just
could
the
really capitalize.
traffic
Yeah.
alone off
Yeah.
of knowing that she slept with 100 guys. I mean, think the YouTube video alone had 5.4 million watchers.
Oh, I can't imagine people going on
in
the
2
paywalls.
weeks.
Yep.
So when she posted and she posted online, she said on like social media, she posted like the applications for guys. So imagine how much guys inquired. And then out of those guys that inquired, they probably still are interested in watching how
course.
the scenario happened.
Yep.
And now she's saying 1,000 guys. So in my head, I'm looking at this is perfect marketing, right? Because now you're saying you want to do more. So now guys that may be interested in going to that, they're going to pay attention and be like, let me see how the 100-man one went. So now maybe I can be part of the 1,000-man. So in my opinion, there's a lot of marketing here. There's a lot of strategy to this. And when the guy was interviewing her, he's like, do you see yourself as like a businesswoman? And she's like, no. But then she had spreadsheets. She had a team of like 9 people, assistants, that, cameraman, blah, blah, blah. For God's sake, she had a documentary crew doing this documentary before she even did it. So she's a smart woman.
That's an
I would
entrepreneur
say
for
she's
sure.
a business-minded woman.
Yes.
Now, okay, smart can be, subjective in a sense, but at the end of the day, she's doing business at this point. She's no longer doing it for fun, although she said she used to have sex for fun. But I think there's a big difference of having sex for fun and having sex for money.
She explains that in the video, actually. She talks about how when she did do the 100 guys, that it's first of all, she said it's not for the weak. Second of all, so it's mentally taxing. I'm pretty sure you just ran a marathon. Like, I mean, they ran a marathon in you, respectfully, but a marathon was done. So she was just saying, like, mentally how taxing it is, and
physically. Can you imagine?
physically how taxing it was. But the point of the matter was, what was that point that I was trying to get to? Yeah, she wasn't doing it for the enjoyment of having sex at this point. So it was more of the monetary gain that she got from it, because again, after a certain amount of guys, it's no longer fun. It's just, you're like a robot, and it's just ongoing.
So I want to talk about, first of all, I want to talk about pretty privilege when it comes to this. If you've seen the woman there, beautiful young woman. Everyone with eyes can tell that.
Caucasian,
right?
Let's mention that too.
Caucasian, blonde hair, blue eyed, innocent looking.
Prototypical type that is marketed.
Something you might see. Looks like she could model for Gap or some shit like that. Like, let's just keep it real.
Something wholesome.
Abercrombie and Fitch, like these type of
Betty
brands.
Crocker, like, put her on something that's very wholesome.
Yeah, very wholesome. Looks like a wholesome girl. She doesn't look like she got any work really done on her. Doesn't look, her body look pretty natural. She doesn't have a BBL. So she looks like a very natural girl next door, beautiful girl next door type of vibe. And then she's 23 on top of it. So fresh meat, where a lot of guys like young women. So for sure, in terms of selling sex or images of sex, this is the demographic that people would love to see, you know, on camera and stuff like that. And with Pretty Privilege, to me, I seen a lot of naivety in the video, of course, the documentary, and she can pretend like she's not privy to like what goes on in the sex industry and whatever, and like, yeah, I'm just doing it for fun. But I'm under the suspicion that she knows exactly what she's getting herself into, because again, at that age, you're an adult, as we know, left from right. She knows friends that look just as good as her that don't do that. And then she knows friends that look like her and do that, right? So, again, these are all decisions you have to make. And like you said, I'm not going to sit here and judge that woman and say, like, damn, like, what a deviance. Like, I wish my daughter was never like that. I do wish my daughter was never like that. But again, that's my own personal preference. What she does is what she does. Because at the end of the day...
Especially if her parents are supporting that, too.
Well, and at the end of the day, a lot of things that we don't support, like, we wouldn't want our kids to do, we still might support. Because no man's going to sit here and say they never watched, an adult video, and never enjoy themselves off of adult video. So at the same time, we enjoy these things as well, right? Whether it's fantasy or not, and it's not reality. These are not things that are going to happen to you, and you're not going to get with a girl like this. But a lot of people do buy into the fantasy of these things. Even with the 100 guys, that might be a fantasy of hers, for example. Who are we to judge?
She did say that. She said that was her fantasy. That's why she decided to do it.
Exactly. Who are we to judge? But see, I don't need to judge in order for judgment to be bestowed, right?
Yes.
So I don't need to necessarily say what my opinion is on the chick. But again, when she goes online, she said she was feeling... a bit of, not guiltiness, but she was feeling some regret, maybe, or...
No, she didn't know. She said she felt guilty in the sense that there's some guys that said that I only got 2 minutes, but you promised me 5 minutes. And I think...
Well, I didn't want to talk towards that. I wanted to talk about how she felt, because when they're talking about marriage and finding a guy, I wanted to talk about that, because when she's talking about like, how are you ever going to find a man? No man's ever going to take you serious. She felt a way about that. So I found that kind of funny. I'm like, well, you slept with 100 guys. Like, you know what that comes with. Like, there will be a guy that will take you serious.
Of
but
course.
At the end of the day, there's not going to be... huge lineup of men that will take you serious.
Once again, you go to a different country, you start a new life. You can start from zero.
Again, I'm not saying that possibility is not there, but I was surprised that she felt offended by those type of words or those type of comments where she should have known what that came with, and she should have kind of made herself immune to certain comments, or she should have never even paid attention to comments, is what I'm saying. Because as you know, comments, when you look at them, they're going to point out any flaw, even if you're perfect. So chances are, looking at things that people are saying over the internet is never going to make you happy. It's just funny that she felt like, oh, like maybe they're right. Maybe I should have not did this. But again, once you do your certain actions, there's only consequences or benefits. So she can't be that naive to know that even just her being a porn star would pose some issues in terms of having a long-term relationship.
No, 100%. I think it was a bit of naivety, but I'm pretty sure like people tell you this stuff prior to her.
She knows, everyone knows.
I think a lot of people are good at acting.
Yes, sir.
And acting as if they didn't know what consequences come after they do certain actions.
Well, most porn stars or most adult entertainers, I wouldn't say most, but I've heard a lot of stories of them coming back out and saying, oh, I regret it, or I was coerced, or I was broke at the time, or I was in a different mindset at the time, I was on drugs. There's all the excuses in the book that come out afterwards where they're like, I regret it, and I wanted to take them down off the internet. But it's like, you signed the contract, you got paid, it was a job. It is what
There's
it is.
no accountability after they've
That's what I
done the
mean.
deed.
And I'm like,
and they capitalize at that moment
yeah,
too.
they capitalize at the moment, but then they don't want to own it years later. So that's where I find issue with that, because I'm like, well, okay, at what age are you gonna say?
It's just oxymoronic,
Well, at what age or what what age are your actions gonna be like comprehensible to you, where you understand what is involved with the work you're doing?
That is a good question.
If I get into MMA, right, I understand that possibility of me getting CTE, concussed, broken arm, broken leg, face smashed up, cauliflower ears. Like, all these things are possibilities because I've seen other people in the past get these things happen to them. And just like these women, they've seen other women that have been in the industry and regretted it and then want to change things around. And they understand how that works. So when a woman kind of comes out and says, oh, well, at the time I wasn't this and I wasn't that, I'm like, at what age then are you going to have that sense? That's what I want to know. If you do what you do, own it.
Yes.
But don't come back out and say people coerced you or it's because social media pressure. But again, you never know if some of these women have mental health issues, honestly. Because this woman, like, is she super stable? Are we sure she's that stable?
We don't know, honestly. Behind the scenes, we don't know exactly where her mental state is. And we won't know even when she does 1,000 guys. Because, I mean, like, God damn it. How do you go from 100 to 1,000?
1,000, man. She said she's going to conveyor belt that one.
Yeah, conveyor belt. I'm definitely going to do a review on that one. That's going to be very interesting because that should be beyond 24 hours. But again, 3 seconds max.
But how about for yourself? Would you ever participate in something like that?
Me personally, I wouldn't, just because my I would say my moral compass wouldn't allow me to do something of that sort, and consciously I can't see myself doing something of that sort. But it's interesting because a lot of those guys that do those things want to be anonymous. So even in the documentary, they're not going to show their face.
So they're not necessarily proud of it.
Yeah, they're not proud of it. They're not going to... I don't even necessarily think they're not proud of it. I think they don't want the judgment that comes with it. Because they alter the voice. They don't show their face. Their face is blurred and stuff of that sort. People are worried about the judgment of society, not the action that they did, but the judgment of which comes from the society and being, possibly attacked or.
So based on that premise, if the men didn't want to be recorded and wanted their voice distorted,
I think they would be completely fine with what their actions were.
What the actions were, again, when there's no publicity behind it. But the point of the matter is, you're telling me that those men are more cognizant of the consequences of their actions than she is. That's sleeping with 100 guys. They're just coming in as a conveyor belt. They're doing their business and
they're one of how many.
No one should fault them if it's like you go in there and you do what you have to do.
But you know why? Because men are always targeted as the people that should know better. Women usually get an escape for not knowing better, and she should have been properly being young and dumb and should have been guided properly. And
Because they would probably rip the men more than they
would
rip her.
the men
That's for
than
sure.
They ripped her. Like, although she's getting ripped, she's getting
ripped. Yeah, she's getting reamed regardless.
In the
but I
comments,
know
and
people would
everything.
come after the
But
men.
they would come after
and
the
they'll be,
men.
you disgusting
Yes,
man. You
yes.
went after this.
You're perverted.
And you
You're this. You know what I mean? You're a monster.
And there's many different ages. It's 18 to 80, I think that was the age group.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of conversation when it comes to that. So I think that's why a lot of men would not want to be revealed for the actions that they did. They just want to kind of go in, go out. Sometimes they're coming from Switzerland. Like, they're coming out of the country.
But he said he spent like about 800 pounds.
Yeah, but then they asked him
Like
if it was
total.
worth it. He said
worth it.
This is the most expensive lay that he got for 5 minutes.
Yeah, he said like 800 pounds. He had to fly in, get an Airbnb, this and
crazy,
that.
crazy,
Like crazy
for 5 minutes. And then they asked him if it was worth it. He said yes. But
is that how desperate men are for, like, you know, getting something like that?
I guess it shows how desperate men are. But I don't understand, to be fair, because a lot of these countries have prostitution, right?
So what's the use in being on?
I think it's just a fantasy of theirs.
I think so.
And they're just trying to fulfill this fantasy. But in essence, because it's like, you know, the pussy is around, buddy. You could get it from other
means. Other means.
Red light district and stuff of that sort, especially in Europe. I mean,
especially this guy says from Sweden,
it's a train. You're a train ride away.
You're a train ride away from Amsterdam.
Like, so what are we doing, right? So I'm always confused.
So maybe there is that fantasy of that, and you know, men just getting absorbed in that sexual world and wanting to fulfill these things. So I guess people have these type of fantasies. I guess with the specific girl as well, right? So
it's just interesting in that sense, and the only last words I want to say about the video is that I'm seeing like a lot of people getting her on the podcast, and people are criticizing her actions, criticizing her family for supporting that type of action. But again, that's you standing on a higher moral ground. Like, it's like, how do you, like, they're basically saying that the way they live their life is better than the way you live your life. But again, how you live your life is...
You're saying it's worse.
No,
the way they live their life is worse than how you live your life.
Yeah, no, they're saying, well, whatever.
The person judging them is saying that the way they live their life is worse than the way that the person judging lives their life. They live a better life than them.
Yes. So they're basically, so what you just said. And what I find is a problem in that statement is that the way you live your life is subjective to the individual, because
absolutely,
whether you live as a homeless person or you live as a billionaire, we're all going to the grave.
We're all judged anyway.
We're all judged. We're all going to the grave. It doesn't matter. It's just how you choose to live your life.
Because people judge you if you're a billionaire. Oh, why didn't you spend money on Africa? Why didn't you fix world hunger?
So much money? Why are you hoarding money? Why didn't you? So whether you lived a so-called good life or a so-called rich life, or whatnot, whatever you considered as to be a life of abundance and wealth, a wealthy lifestyle, you'll be criticized at the top and you'll get criticized at the bottom. So why is it not okay to just live your life and be who you are?
But I think just judgment, like, again, like, we don't have to judge, but judgment is always going to be there. So I think, you know, as a society, we're always going to have judgment, but I guess it's up to you and what you portray to society, because some people live private lifestyles. There's people doing what she's doing privately. There's swingers. There's people that are having sex with, you know, hundreds of people behind closed doors. Like, you get what I mean? As a normal way of life. Like, they go to these sex islands. They go to swingers clubs every day, every weekend with swap partners. And they do stuff that we couldn't fathom as, like, regular folk, right? But at the end of the day, this happens, and they're not judged within their community. So I think it's like you get judged by people outside of your community or outside of that understanding.
And I think you get judged based off you putting your content out there. Because if nobody knew, if nobody knew about what you were doing, like you mentioned, then you wouldn't have got judged. So if you are being judged, it's because it's other communities are seeing what you're putting out to the world, and that's why
you will be judged for what you put out.
Yes.
And speaking on that, we can get to Travis Hunter's whole scenario. We have another video we actually wanted to review about Travis Hunter, another guy that's kind of going through controversies with his girlfriend. He's a football player, college football
Now
player.
his fiance.
And his now fiance seem to be causing a lot of viral moments on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
We actually did a video on them recently where she said he wasn't his type. They're basically saying the woman that he's with is a gold digger and only there for the money, and he's a naive young man, and he should probably figure out, he should live more life before he decides to get married to a woman like this. And there's just been a lot of different stories coming out, a lot of pundits, celebrities, and people just talking about this whole scenario. So it's interesting that he's gotten this popular because of his girlfriend, mainly, especially the issues between them. So we'll get into this video. And
even with his girlfriend doing videos, she had I think a 4-part video explaining her actions on every video that they were criticizing her for.
Yeah.
She had a 4-part video on that. And there's one video, out of the 4 parts, there's this one video that made me laugh where she was saying the reason why she had him in her DMs for the last, for 2 months prior to actually talking to the guy was because he cheated on his girlfriend. And I was like, what? Wait, what's going on here? You were being judged, and instead of just correcting your wrongs for why they're judging you, you decide to throw him in the mud,
throw him under the bus. It doesn't make no sense.
And drag him through the mud? What are we doing? I was super confused with that one.
Accountability is a hard thing for a lot of folk. I mean, they don't hold themselves accountable. When you're getting judged for what you've said or what you've done, keep it focused on that. Don't bring someone else down with you. Don't try and drag someone and explain your reasonings by bringing someone. Now, that's called throwing someone under the bus, which she obviously did.
Definitely scapegoat. That was a scapegoat move.
Yeah, scapegoat move. But again, we'll talk about, of why when you put things out, why you should not be surprised on how people judge it, whether it's positive or negative. If you put things out on the internet, as we all know, you will be judged. So let's get into the video, and we'll talk about Travis Hunter and his whole scenario because it seemed very interesting.
You had no girl, so why y'all talking about me? Find something else to talk about. You talk about my girl. Go talk about your girl. Go find a girl. Go find a life. Stop worrying about what I got going on. I know what I got. I know my girl. My girl been with me for 5 years. Y'all are just not starting to talk about me and just not starting to be with me. Come on, man. Y'all go do something else with y'all life. Clickbait pages, y'all better stop. I'm telling y'all. It's something bad gonna happen. Y'all keep doing that. Y'all better stop that. I ain't playing. Y'all better stop. All the clickbaiting pages. When we was sitting down and I was at my papa shop, we was talking about my family. What was they gonna do while I was in there signing stuff? I had all my family there. And that's why she did. That's why she said she's gonna stay there so they can get stuff. That's why she said she's gonna sit there so they can get stuff, have fun there.
Listen, man, Travis Hunter said it, man.
All right, we're gonna stop it right there.
All the criticism
So that was just a commentary that came at the end. But
That's hilarious.
tough guy Travis Hunter, man. Watch out, he's a shooter out here.
Don't talk about his girl.
Don't talk about his girl. Don't talk about his family.
He's gonna come for you.
Yeah, he might be the one knocking on your door. He might just call in the boys.
And this speaks to the sensitivity of people with their private life being public. Again, if you don't want certain things to be out in the mass media, you have to cover that part of your life. You have to make sure there's a blanket over that part of your life. And how you make sure of this is by not putting yourself in the spotlight or putting your significant other or your family in the spotlight. And let's look at, famous people obviously we can look at LeBron James. He has a wife that's obviously been there from the time he started. And I've never seen her get in any controversy with dealing with LeBron James. And LeBron James, the biggest athlete we've seen in years, right? And she's never been in that controversy. Why? Because I don't know much about her. Because
it's
she
also
doesn't
a different era at the time of when they came in. Social media wasn't
different era. But I still believe even with the different eras, she managed to go through many different eras, right? So at a point in time, he could have been public about it.
You become an adult. As she kept growing, I think less she became more of just a background
Some
type of wife.
but sometimes it's not no fault of. Yeah, I know what you're saying in that sense, but sometimes it's no fault of your own. Kobe had a scenario where
Yes.
his wife got put on center stage because
Yes.
of his actions.
Yes.
So it's not just off of what she does. Obviously, it's off of what your man does. If he
Yes.
doesn't do anything to embarrass you, we've even seen scenarios of.
But what did Travis do to embarrass her?
Well, Travis never did nothing to embarrass her. She did something to embarrass him, saying
Yeah.
that he wasn't his type.
If anything, he tried to defend her, and he's now getting
he
ripped
tried
for
to,
that.
He
He's
tried,
getting
to, he
reamed.
tried to defend her for the actions she's done.
Yeah.
Because she put their relationship, they have a relationship page. So they open their lives to be criticized,
wow.
right? They have a relationship page. So they open their life to be criticized. That's what I'm trying to talk about, making your private life public and then not wanting to deal with the scrutiny that comes with that. Because if people see things or notice certain characteristics, they're going to rip you apart. They're going to rip you into shreds.
Yeah.
Exhibit 1. Exhibit A. If you're on any of these shows, for example, if you're on even a show like Pop the Balloon,
Yes.
Love is Blind, all these dating shows, you're telling me those people aren't getting ripped in the comments?
Of course.
Of course they're getting ripped in the comments. You're telling me they don't expect that? Of course they must expect that because
To a certain
they're
degree.
they're on a public platform. To a certain degree, whatever degree it is, you're on a public platform and you're
But
popular.
but they still get upset about the type of comments they
No.
receive, which is
But the
ridiculous.
the
in a
emotional
sense.
part, you're gonna get upset. You're gonna say what you have to say. But again, it doesn't make sense. That's illogical.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense because you're the one that put your
You put
public,
yourself out
you put
there.
yourself out there for people to criticize.
Yeah.
Now, if you did your things in silence and you kept, a lid on your relationship and what the dynamics are and how you met and this and that, you guys wanted to be transparent online. You didn't want to be private online. So when you're transparent, people are going to see the flaws in that transparency and then they're going to criticize the flaws. So him doing that, it's like you put the nail in your own coffin. Like, you know what I mean? Like you like, I don't understand what you were expecting. Of course, everyone would love to have positive comments all the time, but as we know, there's trolls on the internet.
Yeah.
There are people that are going to criticize you, and depending on how popular you are, he happens to be very popular or is going to be very popular in the next coming years. That's why people are coming after you. People don't want to see you successful. Whether what you're doing is right or wrong, good or bad, people don't want to see your success.
That's
so
actually a good
if you
point.
give people ammo, they're going to load up. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to take what ammo they can and get and load off on you. And that's why guys like LeBron James, he doesn't show so much of his private life, so people can't attack his private
Yes.
life. And when his private life started to get shown with LeBron James' mother sleeping with his teammate allegedly, that blew up. That was a big point of criticism for LeBron James and the mom and et cetera and the teammate. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, where's Delonte West now?
Homeless guy.
Homeless guy. So you can't push the wrong person. Can't push the buttons of the.
That's true, and we don't even know how he got there. You know what I mean?
I know how I got there. Le
That's true, 'cause-
GM. Le GM.
Exactly, because
He
I
said,
mean,
"Don't." This guy will
you
never
poked the
play a
wrong
game.
bear. Yeah,
this guy will never play a game in
he
the
got
NBA again.
blacklisted. Probably he
He
probably
probably
got
did,
blasted.
right?
And we don't know the ins and outs of the NBA and how much power like certain people have and stuff of that sort.
I don't think it's a coincidence he's homeless.
That's true. That's true.
I don't remember any other Cavalier player being
that
homeless.
turned out. Yeah, that turned out like that, and actually making coverage.
Absolutely.
So,
there you go. Exactly.
yes.
The point that he's even known is because of the scenario that he had with his mother,
Exactly.
the relationship they allegedly had.
But no, you raised a good point about Travis Hunter and how because of his status right now, he's being targeted.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, if that was some bum player that was a nobody that was getting drafted in the second round, would they care about the person's girlfriend and what's going
People
on?
are not concerned
They're not
about your
concerned about
dynamic of
yes.
your relationship.
Definitely
And they're
not.
not there to look out for you and tell you, hey, she's going to take you for all your money.
Definitely not.
Unless you're somebody, that's the only way that's relevant. But at the end of the day, like he said,
Because they're trying to get clout, right?
Yeah, where people making comments saying this, hey man, you shouldn't do this, hey, you shouldn't do that. At the end of the day, they're using your stardom to have conversation. Reason why we're talking about you is because this turned into popping conversation. Again,
Yes.
we're absorbing whatever it is that your clout is and putting it on a platform and speaking on it, because again, there's public speaking platforms where people can give their opinions on things. Just like when a sports player is playing a sport and people criticize him on his play or gestures he did or for getting into fights or whatever the case may be, they can't be upset at pundits criticizing them whether they played the game or not. You put the product out there, we're going to criticize it if it's not good product. And that's the same thing for Travis Hunter. People are not looking for you to rise. They're looking for you to fall. They want to see you crash and burn. So don't give them the ammo they need. Or if you do give them the ammo that they're looking for, don't be surprised at the reaction you get. You have to be numb to that. So some people are numb to the social media aspects of life, and then other people are affected by it. We'll even key in a guy like Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
He posts a video that's, going against certain groups, and he posted on his Twitter, and then he's getting fined by the league. They're suspending him, and he's acting all surprised. Hey, I just only did this. I never promoted it. I just posted the link for it. I'm not the one that wrote the book. I never said nothing about it. But it's like, yeah, but people want to see your downfall. So they're not going to look at you and be like, you know what, he's right, what he said. No, they want to cancel you. They want to finish you off if they can. People that are at the top, people want to axe them down, bring them back down to earth because they feel like you're getting a little too big for your britches. So they're like, yo, let's just axe you down, bring you back down to earth. People want to see you fail.
But again, and that's why he just tucked his tail between his legs and
stopped talking
and just played the game of basketball and kept his opinions to himself. He'll speak on it behind closed doors, but in terms of getting that social media presence and getting that backlash and getting those certain types of interviews where they're talking about Kyrie Irving and his opinion on things, he's not giving the opinions of whatever he's thinking because he knows that they want to find any type of ammo that they can use to destroy him.
Exactly.
Especially when you're up there.
Control what you can control.
Yes.
If you're able to control your portrayal of yourself, control that. That's why I said guys like LeBron James, guys like Messi, the biggest stars we talk about. Cristiano Ronaldo, certain people that have had certain controversies, but again, they try and limit those controversies. Even if something bad happens with them and they're involved, you try and limit it so they don't come after you. Of course, look at Jay-Z right now. He's in controversy, right?
Yeah.
But he made sure he's...
But he beat the case.
Well,
the allegations for now. The
allegations never beat the case. He just got put in a lawsuit. But again, he's trying to nip it in the bud early. He's not trying to play around. That's why I released statements saying, "Hey, I'm coming at you. We're gonna fight this."
But P Diddy did the same thing. He tried to nip it in the bud.
Diddy never did that.
With Cassie.
Yeah, he tried to get on top of it with the apology video. But unfortunately, someone had the video.
Something else came.
The video came out. Like he got on top of it before. So he got on top of the allegations. He said he never put hands on her, et cetera, et cetera. He wanted people to forgive him, which might have worked if it wasn't for those damn meddling kids. Like, someone found the video, posted online. And then obviously we seen the physical violence he was doing, and he couldn't escape something like that.
And then, what the cherry on top it was for like Diddy's case in that sense was not only did that video come out because you're saying like, oh yeah, they're trying to frame me, they're trying to make me look bad and whatnot. Then the video came out, then he had to apologize, and then the other allegations came in. It's like, of course you're guilty.
Yeah, like he kind of killed himself.
He killed himself, man. It was like a three-pronged attack.
And obviously someone had some type of agenda because even with him dropping that video, you would think he had his ducks in order, right? You would think he had things set up where nothing else is going to come out. So when he did the apology video somewhere in the Amazon, he's not trying to get extradited.
Exactly. Right?
I think it's in Belize or somewhere.
Oh my God. But I think he should have stayed in wherever he was at. Yeah. Because I feel now that he's in prison, he's going to be in there for quite some time before he comes out.
Exactly. He should have maybe stuck it out wherever he flew out to. But anyways, point of the matter is that people want to see your downfall. So when you post things on social media, you have to be wary of what you post, especially if you're a famous figure. If you're nobody, you're nobody. People are not really going to take their time to comment on you. And that's what you have to realize as well. When you're nobody, no one cares what you do. No one cares about your girlfriend. No one cares about even 100 guys that you slept with. Again, even when we go back to that girl, the 100 guys she slept with, reason why she's getting notoriety and stuff like that is because of the pretty privilege that comes with that. Now, if this was just a random chick from the neighborhood that decide to sleep with 100 guys. This is not a big story. You're not getting 5.4 million views.
Definitely
we're not
not.
getting all of that type of
Because
attention.
because like once again, it's like sex is in abundance, so you always have to
Everyone
ask
has
why.
sex,
Yeah,
and there's
it's like,
many beautiful women too.
why are you specifically getting all this notoriety for what you do?
Again, even when we talk about OnlyFans, some girls are making in the millions. Why
Yeah.
are they making in the millions? And other girls are making a couple $100 just to pay off the little rent. Like, you get what I mean? What's the difference? And the look of one woman from the other might not even be the most drastic of differences.
Yeah.
So a lot of this has to do with, marketing, pretty privilege, certain things, certain demographics, obviously, certain areas and shit like that. But again, when it comes to all of these different things, I think we have to just realize what it is we're putting out there. If we're putting out things that can and potentially will get criticized, we should think twice about it, especially if we're in the world of trying to get fame
Yeah.
or trying to be somebody that a lot of people are looking up to or looking into. You have to be weary of what you post if you don't want your public life to be, or your private life to be public. You have to make sure. But again, if you're a celebrity, everything's gonna come to light. If you're chasing fame, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, you have to know what that comes with. So I think people have to stop being naive. Those that make it famous, they have to understand that this comes with the gig. Everyone knows. You got Michael Jackson that got accused of X, Y, and Z. You got Diddy now accused of X, Y, and Z.
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. A lot of the
Bill
famous
Cosby, yeah.
people that we've seen are getting accused of certain stuff. Even for God's sakes, they're coming after Serena Williams for bleaching her skin.
Oh
for
yeah,
example.
they're coming after her
So
for that.
no matter what it is you do, Drake, they said, have fake abs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story about everybody.
Yeah.
There's a story about everybody. So point of what I'm trying to say is, when you're on the realm of being famous, or you think that something might blow you up or turn you into something that you never started or never had the idea of thinking that would be a possibility, just know that things from your past, things that are private, if you portrayed them or if you showcased them earlier on, it's open season. Open season.
100%. You couldn't have said it better. I think when it comes to this game of fame and being out there, I think if you want to be in that realm, you want to find a way to protect your image where you're not constantly, as I said, you don't want to be a personal brand. You want to be like a community brand. You want to be something.
If you care about the
if you care
critics.
about the criticism, if you care about you living in peace.
Yes.
And being able to walk around with nobody detecting you, being able to go to certain restaurants, just going to certain gyms, just trying to live a regular life.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the focal point for your brand, because when you're the focal point, you get the good and the bad. And I don't think that's something that people really want to deal with, to be fair.
Absolutely. No, 100%. I think that we have to pay attention to that again. And I think the reason why we have to pay attention to that more is because the potential of people making it in this day and age, whether it's as a pseudo celebrity or as an actual celebrity, making it as a popular, TikTok creator, YouTuber, whatever, these possibilities are a lot bigger in this day and age than it was before. Before, you needed talent to make it. Nowadays, you need some resiliency. You need to be, really putting your nose to the ground and really on top of, promoting yourself, marketing yourself as much as you can. But again, people deal with a lot of shit. There's even a streamer, his name was Twitch or some shit. I don't even know his name. I think it's Twitch, something like this.
Yeah?
But this guy is one of the top streamers.
His name is Twitch.
I think his name is Twitch or something like this. Hopefully, I never butchered this guy's name. I'm not 100% sure. But there was a streamer
There's a stream called Twitch, like for gaming.
Okay, so I might have butchered this guy's name. Look, I have no clue. Whatever the hell the kid's name is, he's cool with all these streamers.
Okay.
But they found that the guy was doing some adult content with dudes.
Oh, come on, man.
He was doing the opposite of this guy. He was doing OnlyFans as a guy for guys, and they found that out, but they would have never expected that because he was a gamer streamer. But then it came out. Someone leaked the OnlyFans and everything, And Buddy got exposed. Yeah, that's what he's doing in his past life. And he couldn't deny it. He's like, yo, that's like, it is what it is. And people are joking and ripping the fuck out of him. But again, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're going to go into that realm of wanting to be famous, the past
Where
and everything may come out. So
comes
you have
back,
to know,
yeah.
like you said, if you want to make a personal brand or if you want to make a brand that is away from your personal life, you have to decide, because when it's just your personal brand and you're the focal point of your brand, people can nitpick you and start catching you on certain things. This happened to many artists. Even The Game, he was a stripper back
Yes.
then. I
Had a
he's
butterfly on his
I think he's a
face.
male stripper.
Yeah, male stripper. Then
He's
he
a
had
male
the
stripper,
butterfly
like,
on his face.
A
and
butterfly on his
changed
face.
it to the LA.
Yeah, it turned into a gangster rapper
Yeah.
all of a sudden, right?
How's that
So
work?
like certain things come out, and I'm not saying it's gonna ruin your career, but you have to deal with the certain actions you did in the past.
Exactly. And I think this was a great conversation. It was a great way to end 2024. You have any final words for 2024?
And now I remember the guy's name. His name is Sketch, I think. Sketch.
Okay.
Sorry, not Twitch, because Twitch is the streaming
Yeah, that's what I
service.
was saying. Yeah.
Sketch is this guy named
Okay.
Sketch, and he's a big streamer. I seen it on Twitter like a couple months ago, and I'm like, what in the world have we started? But again, private life becomes public when you decide to make your life public. But sorry, for last final words of today, I think it's protect yourself. I think it's a 2-word. It's protect and yourself, or protection and peace. Because at the end of the day, if you don't protect yourself, especially your image and how you're portrayed out there, I think that you're not going to get the peace you want. And I think a lot of people want to be famous, but they want to have a peaceful life as well. And I think when you're famous and having a peaceful life, those two things don't really intertwine. I think your life becomes a lot more chaotic. So if you don't protect yourself, don't expect peace.
That's really good. I would say create space where don't let yourself be the business. I think you have to make a separation between your business and your personal life. You need to be able to, especially if you want to have a family and have a wife and stuff of that sort. You want them to be safe as well. You don't, because sometimes even if they're not attacking you, one of your family members is now being attacked, whether it's your wife or your kids for whatever transgressions they've done. You don't want that. So the further separation you can make between your business and yourself, the better it is for you. It's easier for you to live your life. You don't have that constant stress. And also, if you are in the social media world, don't get so caught up into the commentaries, because
100%.
whether you're doing everything right or doing everything wrong, they're gonna comment on you regardless.
Yeah,
Don't
turn off the
nitpick.
comments.
Don't nitpick on everything. Let them comment. Let them have, if that's a community, if that's building a community and people are talking amongst each other and they're answering each other, because you're always gonna get people that are defending you and there's gonna be people that are ripping you, especially if you have a community. And so there's always going to be haters and there's going to be lovers. So I wouldn't say necessarily mute the commentary, but what I would say is for yourself not to get so caught up into the comments. I think you get caught up in the comment section, there's going to be one that rubs you the wrong way and you're going to feel the need to defend it. And then you're going to put yourself in an even bigger bind because they got you. There's people that actually make a career. I seen this recently.
Or the trolling.
Yeah, the trolling where people actually have multiple
Accounts.
Yeah, multiple accounts, and they just go in there and they troll and they just really just talk shit. Try to get people to answer and respond, and
they get those reactions.
Gotcha.
And they get those reactions.
And they're looking for the reaction. So don't allow somebody to take you off your game. That's what I would say. Again, create space and don't allow somebody to take you off your game. And that's all I got for today.
We got to stay focused, brothers. We got to stay focused.
That's all we got for you today for the last days of 2024. It's been a great year, and next year we'll come back even harder and stronger and faster and continue with the consistency and persistency on reaching our targets and our goals. There's going to be new goals that are going to be set, new plateaus. and we're gonna continue to elevate ourselves to the next level of life.
Exactly.
And that's what makes us far from normal.
That's it. This is Far From Normal, and we are out. Deuces.